All right, that's going, and this is going. So we're ready to go. Believe it or not, I've actually got this computer up to 2016. All right, so let's try one. Let's try, I'm going to give you one that's a little bit different. X squared. You ever tried to write with a mouse? Not easy. Plus 4x plus 12 is equal to 0. Now, what I want you to do with this parabola, after you figure it out and sketch it, I want you to tell me the domain and range, and then I want you to tell me the increase and the decrease in values. We're going to go over that today. And then we're going to continue working with completing the square. And like I said, if you can't do it, just chalk that up as being a failure. You pulling that calculator out. Well, you don't need a calculator. I ain't giving you no problem. Take the calculator. Square root of 12. I'll show you a trick I learned in the war. Square root of 9 is 3, right? Square root of 16 is 4, right? What's halfway between 3 and 4? 3.5, right? So if I find the middle over here, that's equal to the middle over here. So what's between 9 and 16? Well, 7. Half of 7 is what? 3.5. 3.5 plus 9 is 12.5. We need the square root of 12. I bet you the square root of 12 is 3.4. It's called interpolation. Finding the middle of the middle of the middle of the middle. Eventually you'll find the number that you need. You ever seen that before? He's not listening. He's concentrating. You ever seen that before?
No, it's like that. Teachers always say use calculator.
Yeah, use calculator. That way you can't make change when you're out in the real world at the cash register. Somebody gives you 6 cents, your head explodes. You ever seen that before? The bill comes out to be $12.56. Somebody gives you a $20 bill, and then you ring it up, and then they give you 6 cents, and watch your head explode. The reason their head explodes is because they've been using that calculator too much. They can't count. I do it all the time when I go to a restaurant or I go to go to a store or whatever, I wait till they ring it up and then I give them 6 cents and see if they can handle it.
Like that, just stuff like that. You give them like extra pennies and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
it's ridiculous. I can't believe people are actually in charge of money and they can't count. It's a conspiracy. It's all Bush's fault. Y'all quit yet? That's the easiest thing to do, just quit. Don't try. Just quit. Throw your pencil down, make it pop. You can do that. I've done that before. Y'all ready? Y'all not gonna talk to me, y'all just gonna be quiet. X squared plus 4x plus blank negative 12 plus blank. X squared plus 4x. What's half of 4?
2,
2 squared?
4.
Negative 8? Okay, negative 8. Negative 8 right here. Square root of 8. What do you think the square root of 8 is? 2.9.
No, why'd you take out the negative sign?
Why did I take out what?
It's negative 8, it's not 8.
Well, I'm going to. I'm just telling you that the square root of 8 is 2.9. I'm going to break it out in just a second. Now, this thing right here tells us something. Okay. Matter. That's not supposed to be on. I know. It's not, this is not right. Two things are on right now, that's the problem. Gosh, this thing's. It's not Tri-County, it's just Pendleton campus. See, that thing over there, it's not on my computer. I don't know how to get rid of it. That's not what I want. I want this one. Okay, just give me a second, y'all. Just give me a second. It's not even on the computer.
If you started on it, might have screwed it up.
I'll just finish it. I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm doing this. Tell you what, about ready to ship all y'all to Anderson campus and let's get back up today. But anyway, that negative tells us what? It tells us that there's no x-intercepts. that's what it tells us. So when you're talking about figuring out the behavior of a quadratic, and you see, and you start completing the square, and you see that this is negative, then you know, what I tell y'all about, you know, I've told y'all, if you need to use your phone, what do? Step outside. Because as soon as you ask me a question, I'm going to start using my phone. I got good memory. Okay? Now that's a warning shot. The next time I see you using the phone while I'm talking, I'm going to embarrass you. And then the third time, I'm going to throw you out of class. Not literally throw you out of class. I'm going to ask you to leave. Okay, you got that? Everybody's like, who was it? Who was it? Well, there's two. I've already seen two people. So try to be nice. People just don't think cow horns will hook. X plus 2 quantity squared is equal to the square root of -1, the square root of 8. Why did I do that? To get rid of the negative, so I'll make it an I because it makes it cleaner. X plus 2 quantity squared is equal to 2.9 I. Okay, x plus 2, I'm sorry. I went ahead and took the square root. So x plus 2, I skipped a step. X plus 2 is equal to 2.9 I. And then x is equal to -2 plus, actually plus or minus 2.9 I. Now some teachers want you to write the answer like this, okay? That's most of the time. Sometimes they want you to leave it under the radical. I don't care. So either one. Yes, sir.
So when you did the step to put 8 under the radical, why didn't you put x plus 2 squared under the radical too? Because that's the same step.
It is. I said I skipped it. I'm sorry. Right here.
Okay.
Okay.
So it'd just be x plus 2 equals 2.9.
2.9 out. Yeah, right here. That's what I did right there.
Okay.
Okay. Now don't forget, right here you can get your vertex. What's the vertex? Vertex is -2, 8. Positive 8. There's your vertex. So now you can sketch it. So right quick, take this guy. What's your y-intercept? 12. And you know it doesn't cross the x-axis, so you know it's a floater. What's a floater? Well, it's a parabola that's floating. It's either it's floating. It's either out there, or out here, or out here, or out here. It's floating. It doesn't cross the x-axis. Okay. So I'm going to switch the page. I'm trying to figure out how to turn this whiteboard off.
I'm still having a hard time understanding what that tells you. -2 plus or minus 2.9 I.
Tells you that it doesn't cross the x-axis. I is nothing but a variable to tell you that there's a negative in the radical. That's all it does. The only reason you have I in mathematics is to tell you that's the square root of -1. People don't like writing that. Do you like writing that over and over, or like writing I? It's easier to write I. And then you can apply the exponential rules. I times I is I squared, which is -1. So that's why we use I. Do you remember the exponential rules?
Yeah.
That's the only reason you use I. You could leave that negative under the radical and the answer would be correct mathematically, but it wouldn't be because it's not simplified. I only simplifies things, so believe it or not.
For a negative radical, like let's say it's square root of -9, it'll be 3i.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Does that help? Your question?
I still need another point. I don't know what.
Yeah, no, you don't need another point. I mean, watch.
I mean, we found the vertex, but where's another point to make for us?
You just sketch it. You don't really. I'm sorry, y'all. This is getting really irritating.
Well, is it 0, 12?
I'm not talking about your question. I'm talking about. Okay, are you finished? See, this is what I need. Hold on a second. See, on this, none of that's on there. So that means you're going to get this part right here. That's why I've got to fix it. Did you see it disappear?
Yeah, writing on that.
Yeah, I'm writing on the board and I can't turn it off. I don't know how to turn it off up there. And it's very frustrating. And now I can't get rid of this.
I just fixed it.
Hmm?
You just got done.
No, now this is the whiteboard that's with the, and I can't get to the next page. I'm sorry, just get mad at me. I don't know what to do. I think I just fixed it. No? Okay, I'll just erase it. Sorry. Take all day to erase it. And y'all still not getting it on video because something up here is not right. Anyway, I'll just draw it right here. The y-intercept is what, 12? So 12 is right here. And -2, +8, -2, +8. There it is. Okay, the domain is what? Domain is all real numbers. And the range is from 8 to what? To infinity. So now increasing and decreasing. Well, let me go first off by saying that the only thing that's in the terms of y is what? The range. Everything else is in terms of x. Domain is in terms of x, and increasing and decreasing values are in terms of x. So all you have to do, and oh, let me see if that. The only part that bothers me is that I'm doing all this work and you're not getting it on the video. So there's 12, there's 8. So now all you got to do is take your little car, which way do we read? Left to right, unless you're from the Middle East, Masalama. There's your car. What's that car doing? It's going which way? It's going down.
So you're reading negative from negative infinity to what?
It's negative.
To negative 2. And that's decreasing. Because that car is going which way? Downhill. Downhill means decreasing. So from negative infinity to negative 2, you got decreasing values. And then what's the car doing here? So increasing values from negative 2 to what? To infinity. So decreasing from negative infinity to negative 2. Increasing from negative 2 to infinity. That's how you do your increasing and decreasing values. Yes, ma'am.
How do you figure out the domain and range?
Domain, you just look at it. Domain, remember, domain is going to be all real numbers except if you have a radical or rational function. Most of the time it's going to be all real numbers. 90% of the time. Range, you just look at it. You start looking from the bottom, because most of us, when we're walking down the sidewalk, we look what? Down. There's a few people that keep their nose up, but you know, there's some people, most 90% of the population usually just keep their nose level or down. And then when something happens, what do? You look up. So the natural tendency is to start from the bottom and go up. So go up. Boom. You hit the function at what? At 8. And then it keeps on going to infinity because of the arrows. Okay? Now, why I try to fix this, because right now, this is recording because whatever's on my desktop is recording. And this is what's recorded. This is not recorded. So I've got to figure that out now. Negative. No, I don't want to do a negative yet. Y'all not ready for that yet. Let's try. All I got to do is just write with the mouse and I'm okay. Let's go with one more easy one. X squared minus 6x minus 14. I'm sorry, plus 14 equals 0. Hey Melissa, this is Hubert. I'm in 206 and I've got something wrong with this Epson. It's got the whiteboard. I mean the whiteboard application that comes with the Epson projector. You know what I'm talking about? You don't need a computer, you just put it up on the board. You know what I'm talking about? Well, I can't get it turned off. And I'm trying to use
the interactive software that y'all put on in 206 so I can record, and I can't do that because this whiteboard is interfering with that, and I can't get the whiteboard turned off. Yes. Can somebody come up here and look at it? Okay, thanks a lot. Bye-bye. I don't think there's anything else running.
That's the whiteboard, that's the transparency. Okay? Switch off.
I'd leave too. I just get mad and leave.
And the whiteboard's off. It's still on. Any ideas?
You tried that exit button at the bottom there?
Where?
You bottom right? Where it pulls up?
Oh, that ain't exit, but
The whiteboard came up when you switch screens, what we had up there yesterday.
When I switch screens.
When you like went from this one to the other one, and you just on the new whiteboard, that was the one we had at first period. Cause it had like the plus at the bottom.
well, yeah, I just tried to cut it off, but it won't cut off. It cuts off, but it won't cut off here. I don't.
So it's like the free cam and the computer to the computer.
Yeah, and see the recording mechanism that I'm recording with only records the desktop on the computer. So what's on this screen
So you
is what's recording, but what I'm writing on the board is not recording because it's got this. It's like an overlay. It won't go away. I don't know how to get rid of it. I'm sorry. I'm trying, people. I'm trying.
Did you know when you did turn it on?
I didn't turn it on. It was already up. And when I turn it off over here, this thing don't even work.
So you can't even turn it off and restart.
Let me try this. Let me do a source search and see if that works.
Just bear with me, people. See, it's not even work. It's supposed to be reading off the computer. Yeah, because it was no signal.
Plug into HDMI so it needs to be.
Okay, well then but it's still up. I don't know how to get rid of it.
It says you wrote on the display, like your actual background.
Yeah. So this is what's recording. As long as I write with the mouse, it's recording for the video. But when I write on the board, it doesn't record that. So, and it's very hard to write with a mouse. Minus 6x. Anybody laughs at me, I'm gonna make you come up here and write with the mouse. Plus blank.
Do you have expo markers?
Huh?
Do you have expo markers?
No, I don't use expo markers. Negative 14. And plus blank. That's all right. We'll get it going eventually. It'll just take a week. All right, what's half of 6? 3 squared is 9. 9x minus 3 squared is equal to negative 14 plus 9 is negative 5. Well, the square root of 5 is 2.1, right? Because the square root, huh?
2.2.
Okay, 2.2. All right, so x minus, what's the vertex? Vertex is 3, comma, 5. And x minus 3 is equal to positive or negative 2.2i. And then your finished answer, or most simplified answer, is, even though you know there's no x-intercepts, is 3 plus or minus 2.2i. And take your handy dandy graph. And 14 is going to be way up here. Don't laugh. I'll make you come up here and write with it. Looks like a squashed dot. And then 3 and 5. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got a parabola that looks like that. Those Marlboro Reds will kill you. All right. So what's our domain? All reals. Range is from 5 to what? 5 to infinity. Decreasing from negative infinity to 3. Good. Spit out those answers. And increasing from 3 to infinity. Now see, this stuff ain't hard. Everybody feel good, confident? Good. Let's do one to discourage you. Make you quit. Let's throw a negative in there. Well, before we throw a negative, let's throw a number out in front. All this is going to make sense when I get through. Believe you me. 2x squared plus 8x minus 4 is equal to 0. Now, your first inclination is to factor out of 2. And you can do that if you do completing the square a different way. All right? Now, there's about 3 or 4 different ways to teach completing the square. The reason I teach the way I teach it is I've tried to teach the other ways, and I have found that the way I'm teaching it is the easiest way for students to grab onto. So, do not factor out of 2 here. You will factor out of 2 in just a second. Go ahead and move C and add your blanks, then factor out a 2. Dang old Johnny Cash. Sounds like Johnny Cash. Walk the line. Oh, is that what it is? Thought it was Johnny Cash. Quit sneezing and I'll throw you out of class. That is really bothering me. That is a dun 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 dun. Now you're probably going to run into a little bit of a snag. You don't know what to do after you factor. Well, there's a little part that you don't know about. So I'm going to go ahead and write 2x squared. I don't know what that was.
Is the reason why you didn't factor because there's a 0 on the other side?
Mm-mm. The reason you can factor out a 2, but you got to change methods of completing the square, and I'm not going to change horses in midstream, so I'm going to teach you how to do it this way. So rewrite 2x squared plus 8x plus blank is equal to 4 plus blank. Now, factor out a 2. That gives you x squared plus what? 4x plus blank is equal to 4 plus 2 times blank. Because that blank, this side right here, this guy right here was once part of this. Okay? Now, this is where you get into thinking about it too much. Don't think about it too much. Just whatever you factor out over here. Why do I have to keep turning that on? Whatever you factor out here, you multiply by this blank over here. Now, the reason that is because, like you said, if you factor out a 2 at the beginning, then you would be factoring out with that 4. Okay? But you would also be adding the blanks on the left side. All right? That's one way of, let me show you. Well, I can't show you. Another way of teaching completing the square is to do everything on the left-hand side. So that would be 2x squared plus 8x plus, or minus 4, sorry. I don't know why that thing keeps going away. Minus 4 plus blank minus blank is equal to 0. Okay.
Did you just skip the step of putting 16 where the blank is?
I hadn't done it yet. You got to do that after you factor. This right here, this method right here is one way of teaching completing the square. Doing everything on the left-hand side of the equal sign. And I have found that that is the worst way to try to teach completing the square. Okay? So, that's why I don't teach it that way. But, that's why when you factor this 2 out, you factor it out of the whole thing, you've got to add it to this side over here. Okay? That's why. Alright, so I'm going to erase this and go back to my problem. Okay, now the first thing you do is you move C and you factor out. Why? Why do you have to factor out a 2? Because completing the square does not work unless you have a 1 in front of the x squared. That's why. Completing the square does not work until you have a 1 right there. That's why you have to factor it out. And that's another way for you to remember what to do first. Do you factor first or do you divide B by 2? You factor first. And then you do the 16. Because 4 divided by 2 is what? I'm sorry. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 2 squared is 4. And there's your 4s there. And now you're back to the original complete the square, finish the problem.
You just keep carrying the 2.
Yes, sir. Well, you can multiply it on the right. 2 times 4 is 8. You can do that. The 2, yeah, you bring it down. And what the 2 tells you is that your parabola is going to be squeezed. It's going to be skinnier.
I thought 8 was our B.
Thought what?
8 is our B.
You took the 2 out.
Took 2 out. When you factor out a 2, 2 divided by 2 is 1. 8 divided by 2 is 4.
Okay.
You factored it out of 2.
Oh.
Okay?
It is an 8 right there.
Yeah, that's an 8. Sorry.
Does the 2 change the vertex at all, or
No,
the same?
it does not change the vertex. The only thing the 2 does, and that's what I'm getting into with your logarithms and your exponentials, anything in front of something, 2 logarithm of 4 or 2 logarithm of x, that 2 makes that logarithm graph squish up. It compresses along the x-axis. So what is this 2 going to do to this parabola along the x-axis? It's going to compress it. Or it's going to stretch it along the y-axis. Okay?
For the next step, do you just solve the right side, simplify it?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm fixing to do. Yeah. X plus 2 quantity squared is equal to 4 plus 8 is what, 12?
Mhm.
And at this point, you get your vertex. Vertex for this parabola is -2, what? -12.
So you don't do anything with the 2 that's brought out?
Not yet. You will next because you're going to solve. So there's our vertex. Now solve it for x.
When you take the square root, you don't have to bother with
The 2 will be gone because you're going to divide by 2 first.
Oh, that is easy.
Makes it better.
Yeah.
Dang old 6. Dang old 2.3, 2.4, somewhere in there. So x plus 2 squared is equal to 6. X plus 2 is equal to positive or negative 2.4. Somebody check me.
2.45.
That's right. It's 2.4.
2.45, 2.5. Does it matter? No, because you're what with the graph? You're sketching the graph, so it doesn't matter. Now, if somebody asks you for the correct, then yeah, pull out the calculator and round it to whatever the directions say. But you don't need it for what I'm asking you for. I'm only asking you to sketch the graph. So x is equal to, what is $2.50 minus $2? 50 cents. So 0.5 is one x-intercept.
I thought it would be -2 plus or minus 2.5. Because you were.
That's what I'm doing. Right here. Bring that over here. It'd be a -2.
You're not done yet.
Yeah.
I'll be quiet.
That's all right. I appreciate your motivation. You're still going to fail the class. No, I'm just kidding. -2.5 minus 2. You owe somebody $2.50. You owe $2. You owe 4.5. See how easy this is? So there's one x-intercept, and there's the other x-intercept. All right, sketch it and give me all the good stuff. The range, domain, range, increasing and decreasing values.
So So I'm a little confused from the last two problems we did too.
What's that?
And so we were solving for the x-intercepts, and the fact that the,
I,
yeah. Question answered. Gotcha. Thank you. When will a graph not be all the way up?
Go ahead.
When will a graph's domain not be all real numbers?
When it's a rational or rational function, radical or rational function.
When you describe that,
Sandra, this is Hubert McClure. I was talking to Melissa about 206. Is she around? Okay, thank you. I have tried everything. Yes, the remote turns it off, but it's still there. It turns it off and on. In fact, it turns it on itself. I mean, it's got two whiteboards running at the same time. You just have to, somebody has to come over here and see what I'm talking about. It's really weird. I've never seen it on the Anderson campus. I've never seen it do this before. So I probably got to reboot the system is probably what needs to be done, but I just wanted y'all to see it. Now, it's on right now, okay? When I hit the on button for the blackboard and the whiteboard on the, it brings it up again. It's putting it on top of itself, yeah. There's no way to turn, I can't turn it off. I can turn it off with the remote. It turns off the one that overlays on top, but it doesn't turn off the one that's up on the board. I can't get it to turn off. Anyway, just see what you can do about it. I appreciate it. All right, bye-bye.
So McClure, can you try to run the task manager and maybe you can shut down one of the systems?
Try that. Yeah, you're right. I never thought about that. Thank you. I'll try that next.
Okay.
All right, so here's our graph, and 0.5 is right here. You see this thing going away all the time. That's another thing that's not right. I know something's wrong because I don't have to do that every time. And negative 4.5 is here. What's my negative 4 is down here. So where does my vertex need to be? My vertex needs to be down here somewhere, and that's how you check yourself. And it is negative 2, negative 12, which is way down here. Now, what I want everybody to do now is get your graphing calculator out. If you've got one. If you don't, then you need to leave the class right now. I'm kidding, okay? I'm glad you don't carry one around all the time. At least, you know, that's pretty good. Now, I want you to graph this function. What f of x is equal to 2x squared plus 8x minus 4. And then I want you to graph the x squared function by itself. So pull up your handy-dandy virtual calculator that you carry around all the time. And we're going to graph y is equal to x squared. And that's going to be regular line. And then with a thicker line, well, I'll make that the thick line. And then with the thin line, we'll do, what is it? Hold on. There it is. That is the top one. Do the top one. 2x squared plus 8x. Oops. Okay, Hubert, can't type. Minus 4. Crap. There's your basic model. And then there's your, and you can see that you can almost fit that one inside the black one. If you zoom out a little bit, well, let me zoom windows. That's the way I like to do it. Go up here a little bit. Put the window right there. Enter. I'm just going to show you this part right here because I want to show you the compression. Really? Okay, forget it. Zoom in. Well, I don't want to do that. I want to zoom in. The reason I want to zoom in, just hold on a second. I appreciate it. Hold on a second. There. All right, you see how wide that is? And then you see that's is skinnier. It's going to be skinnier. Maybe you can't see it there, but maybe you can see it with zoom. See it better with zoom. I can't ever remember what number it is. It's 0. 0.
If you type in 2,
There we go.
let's see, x plus 2 squared,
You'll get the same. Yeah.
it's just exactly what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
you'll get the same thing. Okay. Basically, compression along the x-axis, along the y-axis. Compression along the x-axis is the same as stretching it along the what? Along the y-axis. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's see if this works. If it works, then you're not going to fail the class. You might make a D, but you're not going to fail. Where is it? There it is. Control panel. What am I looking for?
Control Alt Delete.
Oh, Control Alt Delete. I'm sorry. There we go. Not on there. No, Untitled is what I want to work. It's not on there.
Track processes.
Processes?
Yeah.
Dang, no.
Yes.
Only thing I know to do is this. Okay, that daggum piano is getting on my nerves. First they start with Johnny Cash, and now they're playing something like Cheers or something. Or like the girl on Good Will Hunting playing in her, Minnie Driver playing the piano in her dorm room.
You could die last
Huh?
You could die last.
Why?
You just like when you jam.
I don't mind that. They're not doing that. They're just going in the pling, pling. Doesn't it sound like Minnie Driver in her room at Good Will Hunting? Y'all ever seen that movie? Y'all ever watch any good movies? I ask my students all the time, Good Will Hunting, My Cousin Vinny, Tin Cup, and they're like, oh, but they watch Transformers. Let's see if this works. Maybe that'll work. Maybe it was stuck in a loop. All right. Let's try this one.
must be teaching corporate radicals. 'Cause that's all it is.
What?
So you must be teaching corporate.
Man, I'm fixing to close the door because it's about to drive me crazy. All right, try that one. I ain't got time to wait for a while. Well, the lamp is on. I don't think it's working. Cause I don't have my doojiggers over there.
That's what it's supposed to be, it's either that.
I don't know. I can't figure it out, people. I'm sorry. We're about 99% there. Not there yet. What should you do first? Move C, add blanks. And instead of factoring out a 2 now, you're going to factor out a what? -1. Good. Now you got it. You're about 6. You're about 5 and 6 right now. That's where you're at difficulty-wise.
On a 10-point scale or 8?
Yep, 10-point scale. Yeah, when we get to 8, 9, and 10, y'all are gonna quit and leave the room. Fill out a drop slip. Two more emails. I can't register on my Lab Plus.
What do you do when you divide by negative?
Just changes it to the negative.
Changes it to
Yeah,
negative?
-1. Yeah. I'll steal it from you. See, I asked y'all to get the calculator out and y'all start using it. You got 3 numbers up there, 1, 2, and 7, and y'all got to use the calculator. All right, what's half of 2? 1. 1 squared is, so -1 times x plus 1 quantity squared equals 8. Well, what's the square root of 9? So what do you think the square root of 8 is? 2.8, 2.9? Take your pick, whichever one you want to use. negative 1, x plus 1, quantity squared equals positive or negative 2.8. Oh, I'm sorry. No, that's not right, because you're going to have a negative number. Yep. That negative is going to mess things up. So, hold on. 8. I'll just leave that 8 right there. What's the vertex?
Negative 1, 8.
Negative 1, negative 8. Y-intercept. It's right there.
Negative 7.
What was your question? Yes, negative 7 is correct.
Remember you said when you pull out something in the front, you have to do it to the other side as well?
You
Why is
are
that?
right. I'm so sorry. You're right. I messed up. So it'd be 6. My bad. What happens when you skip steps? Actually, if you want the truth about it, I'm trying to do this problem up here, and this thing up here, this situation is about to drive me crazy because I'm trying to figure out why it's doing it. So y'all just have to excuse my preoccupation. So that'd be 7 minus 1, which is 6. You are correct. You're still going to fail, no matter how many times you get the right answer. All right, so that'd be 6, negative 6. Now, do we have x-intercepts? No, because when you divide by negative 1, that makes that a negative 6. So I'm just going to put over here, no x-intercepts. I'm not going to do the I right now because I want to get to the last of the problems that I want to cover today. And then that's it. So,
Then negative 1 is what it should be up.
well, whatever you factor out right here, remember I took the handy dandy highlighter and I remember me highlighting that.
Yeah.
Whatever you factor out, you've got to multiply by this right side blank. And that makes that 1 a what? Negative 1, and 7 minus 1 is 6. And then the opposite of 6 is negative 6. So negative 1, negative 6. I'm getting tired of having to. And then 0, negative 7. Oh my. What's going on with this parabola? It's opening what? Why? Exactly. And take your handy dandy highlighter, and that's what you're learning with this problem. Concave down.
I don't think it's negative 6. I think it's 6. If you add it,
What are you talking about?
1.
7
It's
minus
just
1
6. You add it to the other side.
is 6.
And then 6 minus 1. That's 6. It's not negative 6.
But you have to
I got the vertex.
You divide the negative 1 on the left side with the 6, it makes it negative 6.
No. Whoa, 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 whoa. Negative 1 times 1 is what?
Negative 1 times
Negative 1. 7 minus 1 is what?
6.
6.
Positive 6.
Yeah. That's what I got right there. Positive 6. And then what do you do to get your vertex? Take the opposite of this guy. Take the opposite of this guy.
I got you.
Don't worry. You'll get it. Don't worry. All right? Now, somebody graph it. Make sure I know what I'm talking about. See what you get. What's your last name? I'm sorry.
I'm afraid to tell you.
Grant? I want to say Grant. It's not Grant. I got a Grant in here? Okay, what's your last name?
Chris.
That's it. I knew it started with a G. How many times have you seen Complete the Square before this class?
Enough to where I should know how to do it already.
Oh, you have seen it? Honestly, I'm very used to, I've never seen this before. I'm very used to it because most people are drilled to use the quadratic formula.
Well, I'm sick and tired of learning it, so now I'm learning.
Well, good.
You could-
Huh? Is it right? Okay, good. Now, this one, all real numbers, negative infinity to what? -6 is your range. And then from increasing from negative infinity to -1, decreasing from -1 to infinity. Yeah, -1 to
So the
infinity.
range is negative infinity to -6.
I'm sorry, what?
The range?
The range is
It's
from
not
negative
-6.
infinity to -6.
Okay.
Is that not what I
Oh,
thought?
yeah.
See, I throw a negative in there and y'all just go. Me too. I messed up right here, so I'm along there with you. All right, let's do a nerd. Let me get. This is so frustrating. I'm ready to quit. Let's go with -2x². I'll be nice to you. Make this an even number, so y'all don't have conniptions. Minus 5 equals 0. Maybe you can chalk it up as being a little bit rusty. How about that?
Yeah.
It's not like you do complete the square every day. Oh, I gotta take the roll before the bureaucrats holler at me. You did not take your attendance today. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Darn, missing one person. Dadgummit, I gotta find out who it is. Beck.
Here.
Bindenball.
Here.
Bowers.
Here.
Branyon. Bundrick.
Here.
Cromer.
Here.
Dove.
Here.
Dunkley. That's who it is. Everybody else is here. Griggs.
Yep.
Hildebrand.
Here.
Knott.
Here.
Keebler.
Here.
Lilly.
Here.
Montero.
Here.
Seidner.
Here.
Sullivan. Thomas. Walker.
Here.
White.
Here.
Oh my gosh.
So -2 x² minus 4x plus blank equals 5 plus blank. Factor out a -2, x² plus 2x plus blank is equal to 5 plus -2 times blank. This is so frustrating having to write for the mouse. Half of 2 is 1, 1 squared is 1. Might want to check yourself on a calculator with that. -2 x plus 1 quantity squared equals 3. And our vertex is -1, -3, and we do not have any what? Let me ask you a question.
What if this was a -3? Would we have would we have intercepts?
No.
Yes, we would. Because you divide by that -2, what does that turn that -3 into?
Wait, it's 2x plus, minus 2, is it not? Instead of, in the, x squared plus 2x, minus 2, because it's 4. When you-
4 divided by -2, -4 divided by -2 is +2.
But aren't you supposed to take the, half of that and square it?
I just did, right there. Half of 2 is
Okay,
1, 1 squared is,
so you brought the -2 out before you did that.
you have to. Because you can't complete the square unless this is what? A 1. Okay, what if this was a -3? Would you have x-intercepts?
Yes.
Yes, you would. Okay, but you don't have x-intercepts, so I'm gonna put no, I'm gonna put NX right here. No x-intercepts. And then my y-intercept is 0, -5. So we graph it. 0, -5 is down here. -1, -3 is right here somewhere. So you got a parabola that goes something like that. I know it looks awful, but I'm about getting frustrated with this. All right. Now, can you make these up and check them with your calculator? Yes, you can do them all day long. Let me give you one to work on for homework because I want to show you something before you leave, so don't be acting all rude and packing up before I don't do that because that irritates me. Anyway, here's one that I want you to work on. 2x squared plus 5x minus 6 is equal to 0. And you have to do it without calculator, without any decimals. You don't use decimals. The whole point of you doing completing the square so you can do it what? In your head. You don't use decimals and go, okay, I'm ready to do it in my head with decimals. Yeah, right. Okay? Decimals means depend on calculator. That's what that means. So do not use decimals and do not use a calculator. And then try it, and if you can do it, then you're not as big a failure as the ones that can't. All right? Try that for homework. And work on some other problems. Make them up. X squared minus 4x plus 2. X squared minus 6x minus 7. I mean, and then you can check it with your calculator. All right? Now that's that. Now, the reason I wanted to stop early and show you something is I want to show you where this